Hey there, here we are again with yet another movie retrospective.
Yeah, this is a good one.
Although this isn't so much a retrospective because this is actually a very recent movie. It only came
Yeah.
out in 2018. This was another one that was sent to us by our friend and patron Sophie. She also
Yeah.
sent us Dracula Untold.
Yeah.
This is the 2018 movie Upgrade.
Yeah, and she sent it to us on Blu-ray. It was
Yeah.
a good movie. I was surprised with it.
I did not realize when we were watching it that it was written and directed by Lee Wanell. He's the guy that did, he wrote Saw and Insidious
Okay.
and all those James Wan movies.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize that this was a movie
I
by
didn't-
that guy. And it's done by Blumhouse, the Jason Blum.
I didn't see Saw or Insidious. So
You didn't see?
No.
You didn't see Saw? How can
No.
you have not seen Saw? I thought everybody saw. I didn't see most of the sequels, but I for sure saw.
I heard
the
that was
first
kind of like one of those movies. It's just kind of like a bunch of torture porn. What they go.
It is, but I feel they
I
got
see it.
a lot more torture porny later.
I don't like any of that kind of stuff.
The first one is actually a pretty good. It's got like a lot of gore, but it's a pretty good like psychological.
This one was good though. This one was more like a sci-fi action adventure.
Yeah,
Pretty neat about a guy who gets in a bad car wreck, and a multi-billionaire tech giant inserts this damn computer chip into his broken spinal column,
yeah,
and then which kind of reanimates him so he can move again. But it's got a sided, it's got like an added side benefit. It's like an AI.
yeah.
It could talk to him, and it can do all this stuff. It could access it basically turns him into a superhero.
Yeah,
Basically.
it was kind of like that. It's like
Yeah.
I've seen it compared to because it actually I think it premiered at the South by Southwest festival, which a lot of kind of horror and indie films do, and it got a pretty good response there, and people like compared it to sort of like Death Wish and the $6 Million Man like put together.
Kind of. Yeah.
It got like really good reviews, and they actually when they released it in the theaters. It made, I think they were only expecting it to make like 2 million because I don't think it cost that much to make, but it actually ended up making like twice as much. I think it made almost 5 million.
This is a testament to the kind of deal where sometimes less is more.
Yeah.
There's no reason, if you ask me, there's no reason to make some of these really giant, huge, big budget blockbusters. Yeah, I think it's kind of a waste of money. I could tell that same story with all that stuff and make it just as cool, like this.
Yeah.
This kind of had the feeling in a certain way of an old 80s movie.
It did. It was
like
paced very much like that.
Yeah, like an old Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, but like a good one.
Yeah.
Because Arnie had some misses too, but this one was like one that was a hit, and but it didn't look like '80s visually. It was
Yeah.
like up to date. The visuals were very up to date. The future was very believable. It was kind of like sleek and streamlined. It wasn't overcomplicated. Just real kind of modernistic looking decor, sparse decor inside the houses, self-driving cars that didn't even really have windows, but they would kind of make like windows if you needed them. Remember, it was like the screens were kind of like two-way screens.
Did it did say what year this was supposed to be, right? I can't remember.
I don't think it ever really specified exactly what year it was.
It didn't look like it looked futuristic, but it
not
didn't look
real
like
far.
crazy futuristic.
No, it looked like maybe 20, 30 years in the future.
Yeah, something like that.
And it didn't show any technology that doesn't already exist. It shows technology that does exist.
Yeah.
Just that it's very evolved.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It works real well. Like drones that are little and they fly and they do all really cool shit. And they can even hijack self-driving cars. That was really cool.
Yeah.
Hacking into self-driving cars. And how a person could become a cyborg. And the cyborg kind of had automatic self-defense programs. So you as a person don't even have any skills, but your body's moving and you're defending yourself. You just have to see the movie to see what I'm talking about. It's cool.
Yeah,
really cool.
because he's the guy that's in it's Logan Marshall Green, and he plays a guy named Gray Trace, and which I kind of love that name. I'm like, it doesn't really sound like a name. It sounds like they're, you know what I mean? Like a
Gray
gray
trace?
through.
Yes.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So
Probably
you can tell
fake
that they're,
name.
yeah,
Probably fake
you can
name.
tell what they're trying to refer to. But yeah, so at the beginning, I mean, he's in the self-driving car with his wife. It gets, and it wrecks.
It gets hijacked by
and it gets hijacked, right?
Yeah,
and
they hack into it. Some thieves hack into it.
Yeah.
At least, I guess they were thieves. Not really, were they? Weren't they terrorists? More like terrorists?
Yeah.
And I think they come back into the movie, but I'm kind of drawing a blank. They reappear later. There was more to that story.
Yeah, well, there was a reason why that happened. Like, why his car got hijacked, why his wife got killed, why... I mean, so he is basically rendered a quadriplegic, and like I said, he knows... It's actually, does he know... I think his wife knows this guy, who's like a tech billionaire.
I've only seen this movie once. You know what I mean? I want to see it again, and not every little detail stuck with me.
Yeah. It
was just really cool. I'd like to see it again, and I can recommend the movie just on the back of one viewing.
Yeah.
It was a movie that packed a lot of punch for being a low-budget movie.
Yeah.
A really well-done low-budget movie.
Yeah. I really liked it. Yeah. And it's like... Yeah, so he's a quadriplegic, and he ends up he gets talked into, like, by this tech billionaire. He's like, hey, do you want to try out it's called STEM, and he's like, it'll, like, make it so that you can walk again. But the caveat being, do you remember that...
Couldn't tell anybody.
That he can't tell anybody, so he still has to pretend like he's a quadriplegic, even though he has this implant that actually gives him, like, super strength.
Nowadays, it wouldn't matter because they passed that, right to try bill, where you have a right to become a guinea pig. I don't think it was legal in this movie for him to volunteer himself as a guinea pig. That's why he had to keep it quiet. That's how I understood it.
I'm not sure if that's why, because I think that maybe the billionaire had other motives.
Okay.
And that maybe he just didn't want anyone to know.
Because based on my memory, I thought that he told him to keep it quiet because it wasn't quite legal, that it hadn't been approved.
Yeah, maybe that's what it was. Like I said, I have to see it. I have to see it again. But like I said, we watched it once, but, you know, sometimes for these we like to see them a bunch of times.
Yeah, we only saw this one once. It was good, though.
It reminded me a little bit, I mean, not hugely, but in the sense that the implant is, like you said, is artificial intelligence, and it essentially becomes like another personality, like inside his brain. Like
he can hear it.
It like talks to him, and nobody else can hear it. And if he chooses to, he can give the AI control over his body. Yeah. You know, like if he's fighting a guy, and he can just say, okay, you take over, and the AI will take over and just beat the shit out of the guy without Gray having to do anything,
or come up with plans that he couldn't even thought of.
Yeah, so like, it's almost like he has another person like living in his head.
Yeah, he was coming under attack by all these basically superior enemies, and the AI program. It was called STEM, right? Isn't that what he called himself? STEM just starts saying, if you want, I can take care of this, no problem. Yeah, and and STEM starts going through the damn internet through wireless services and starts hacking computers and doing cool shit and fighting. It was quite cool. You know what I mean? He kind of ended up with almost kind of like superhero or godlike powers.
Yeah, essentially.
Through this badass AI program that was now part of him. Yeah, and managed his body for him. It was a cool concept.
But I was going to say that, like, in the sense that he had this other being, like, talking to him in his head, it kind of reminded me of Venom in a way.
It is. And what was funny is that the fighting skills of this thing, it wasn't this fluid matrix type stuff. The thing's just real clunky but super efficient and robotic.
Yeah.
So it looks fucking spastic.
But it worked. I liked that about it, though, because, like I said, it's not like it made... like it wasn't like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon or nothing, where people were like flying and being all graceful.
No, it just turned into like T1, like Terminator 1.
Yeah, yeah. But like but it didn't look dumb. It
looked realistic.
It looked really cool.
Because the computer was just defending itself or defending the body in the most efficient way, and the most efficient way is not all that.
Yeah, it was calculating how to do it in the most efficient fashion, like with the least amount of motion and like the least,
least that amount of effort.
Right.
It's quite cool.
It was doing that.
Yeah.
But so So as it turns out, it's like, this is actually like a really new movie. So, and I'm assuming a lot of people have not seen it, so I don't really want to spoil it too much. But as you know, since it's a dystopia sci-fi type movie or whatever, you know that shit is going to go horribly, horribly wrong. And that there was like there was like a grand plan, like why he got that particular implant, and you know what happened with the accident and everything, with his wife getting killed and all this other kind of stuff. And like I can't remember exactly why. I sort of remember exactly why, like the billionaire wanted him to have that implant in particular. But I
forgot now.
But I can't remember, which I guess is good, because then I can't spoil it.
The movie is the movie's going to be is going to be very rewatchable. As soon as I got done seeing it, I wanted to see it again, but we have a really tight schedule.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see it again soon. It'll pick up. It looks. I remember it. I remember the story being basically a setup for a series.
Yeah.
So that there were going to be more stories about it. It struck me as a movie very similar to one of my favorite Arnold Schwarzenegger movies, The Sixth Day. It kind of felt and looked in certain ways like that, but kind of bring in some of the Matrix and Blade Runner, and maybe like Terminator 1. Or maybe like RoboCop. It's just weird. You have to see it yourself.
And it had, like, I liked also that it had a little bit of, like, humor in it, too. Like, not zany humor, but, like, some kind of, like, dark humor.
And visually, it kind of looked like, oh, shit. What's the one about the assassin with Keanu Reeves? The one that's the part 3 is coming out.
John Wick.
It was lit kind of like a John Wick film.
Yeah, it was now that you mention it, yeah. With like the high dramatic, like kind of noir lighting.
That's kind of how it looked. But that mixed with like Arnold Schwarzenegger's The Sixth Day, T1, and RoboCop, and Blade Runner. All that kind of coming together. I just liked it. It was a good movie.
And I like too that you mentioned, Blade Runner, and you mentioned Terminator and stuff like that, because I have seen like some reviews of this movie that compared it to like a John Carpenter movie or a James Cameron type movie.
Yeah.
From the 80s. Not, like I said, it doesn't look like something from the 80s, but it's paced sort of like that, and it has like that same kind of tone.
Has that same kind of feel. It looks like a John Wick film, really.
Yeah, it did actually. Visually, it did kind of look like a John Wick movie. Not quite as dramatic
as
or colorful. Yeah,
it had that same palette though.
Yeah,
and it was shot kind of like that. But imagine a John Wick film in the future.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It's not happening in cathedrals and underground bars and in secret societies. It was the future.
Yeah. I'm excited about the new John Wick coming out.
Yeah,
but actually, as it turned out, like I said, this movie actually got really like pretty decent reviews. Made more money than they thought it was going to make. Like I said, not a huge amount, but they hadn't spent a huge amount on it. According to the Wikipedia page, it was Blumhouse. This was their second biggest opening. The first biggest was The Darkness, which I haven't even seen. I think that was a remake. Wasn't that the one about the little creatures in the
It only made $5 million?
Yeah.
Damn. That's a very small amount. And how much did it?
It is, but I don't know how much it cost to make.
It didn't cost that much.
But they were only expecting it to make $3 million.
It doesn't feel like a cheap movie at all.
It really doesn't.
No, it feels like an expensive movie.
Yeah, I wouldn't have. Well, that's something I was reading. I don't even remember where I was reading it the other day, but I was reading the other day this article about the best sci-fi movies that don't have any special effects in them. Like this one definitely does, but it just goes to show that you don't need...
Didn't rely on them.
A gigantic budget. You don't need like all the CGI and stuff like that. If you have a good idea and you have good actors and you know what you're doing...
And a good story and it's edited and paced right, it's good.
Then you can make sci-fi without... And people will not notice that there's not like big monsters and computer generated what's-its like flying around everywhere. And I'm not shitting on movies that do have that, because there are some like that are good, but you don't need that. And so I think that that's another thing that this kind of movie demonstrates, is that yes, it has some special effects in it, but
It's not dependent on.
It's not dependent on them. It's not like this big, like, ooh, whiz bang future, and it's just like it doesn't have all this crazy shit in it. It's just a good story, and it has like some humor in it. It has a lot of action in it. You know, it's just like a good movie that it didn't cost a lot of money to make.
Some of these blockbusters nowadays that cost $100 billion. When you're watching them, it's almost kind of like you're on a visual ride at Disneyland. Or Disney World. Yeah. They're not really movie-like.
It's just like a spectacle.
It's more like a spectacle or ride that you're on. Yeah. And, sometimes that's good. Sometimes that works. Sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, it depends on what you want.
This particular movie, it's just, for me, it's like a brand new, high-tech, old-school, 80s, sci-fi, adventure action movie. Yeah. With modern sensibilities. Yeah. That kind of looks like John Wick in the future. Yeah. Yeah, I would say that's a good way. That's how I'm going to describe it.
And like I said, I thought it was interesting too when I I watched the movie and like I was looking at the credits and stuff, but I guess I didn't realize that Leigh Whannell had done this. And this I'm not really sure. This might be his only sci-fi movie because usually he does horror.
One of the things I liked about it is that a lot of futuristic movies, they make the mistake of trying to make the future look too futuristic and they pack too much shit in a room. Yeah. Like, they did that a lot in the 80s. Too many goddamn screens. Yeah. Too many screens everywhere. In this movie, some places look broken down and nasty, if that's like if the dive bars are always going to look like that. Yeah. But the houses were nice and simplistic, just wood floors, brick and stone walls, lots of glass and chrome. But not a lot of crazy appliances because technology had taken care of all the appliances. Yeah. It
didn't look like the fucking Jetsons.
It didn't look like the future from Back to the Future 2.
That's what I was just gonna say.
Yeah, that future was fucking crazy. That was the future as envisioned by somebody in the 80s on crack. Yeah. Yeah.
Remember when everybody had their own fax machines?
Their own fax machines in every room. There was a fax machine.
So futuristic.
Yeah.
I still love that movie, but...
Yeah, and the fruit comes down from the ceiling. Yeah. And there's no internet. There's just more screens. Yeah. Yeah.
Wasn't there, in Back to the Future 2, didn't it have the thing where she put that little bitty pizza in the microwave and it got big or something? I'm like, okay.
Yeah, it didn't make any sense.
That seems like...
I guess it was a dehydrated pizza.
I guess so. But that's the thing. Yeah. It's like, I always felt like I said, and we've had this discussion before, but I was always like, if I had millions of dollars to make a movie, one, I probably wouldn't make a sci-fi because I'm a horror person, but... If you're going to make a sci-fi, I feel like that's one of the hardest genres to make because it dates so easily. I mean, the only reason that movies like Blade Runner and stuff like that still look good now is because they didn't try to make it look futuristic necessarily. Yeah. They actually went back to a noir type of look.
Yeah, basically what Gattaca did. Gattaca looked like a real clean version of the 50s. The cars were kind of 50 looking and everybody wore suits, and everything was real kind of clean and minimalist. Yeah. You didn't really even see much technology, and that worked.
That is the safe way to go. Yeah. It's like, don't try to extrapolate all these crazy gadgets people are going to have. Yeah. Oh, again, in Back to the Future 2, where he has the fucking jackets and shoes that blow them, fit themselves to your body and shit like
that.
Your
jacket is dry. Yeah. Hokey technology.
I mean, other than the hoverboard, which everybody wants one of those, but it's other than that, it's just they really did not call it.
What was it, Jaws 15? The damn
hologram came out.
And they said the shark still looks fake.
Yeah. And it looked significantly shittier.
It looked faker in the future.
It really did. Yeah. So, but this is one that, like you said, it does it right. It doesn't do anything too crazy. It's like, they have self-driving cars and stuff like that, but we have those. It's not like some big crazy thing. They didn't try to go overboard with it. The houses, just like you said, they look very sleek.
It looks like some out of Gattaca now.
Yeah, or something like that. It's there's not a bunch of buzzing crap everywhere and try to
cinematography.
Look, it's the future.
The way everything was set up, to me, it looked like a John Wick movie.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah. But it had a really cool look to it, and it's definitely a movie I would recommend if you like sci-fi.
I want to see it again now that we're talking about it. I want to watch it again.
Yeah.
It was a good movie.
And again, thank you, Sophie, for sending us that and for sending us Dracula Untold, two really, really
definitely
good
recommend
movies. Yeah,
Dracula Untold and
this one, Upgrade. Yes, check it out. Yeah. All right, that'll do it for our review of Upgrade from 2018. Remember, if you like the show, like, share, subscribe on all your social media. If you'd like to financially support the show, you can go to our Patreon page, patreon.com/13o'clockpodcast, or go to our blog, 13o'clockpodcast.wordpress.com, and there's a button in the sidebar to a PayPal account if you'd like to give a one-time donation. Remember that our regular episodes of 13 O'Clock, which are usually paranormal or true crime or whatever, come out every Tuesday. These movie retrospectives come out every Friday, and 13 O'Clock Matinee, 3 new movies in the theater, that comes out every Sunday. So check them all out if you haven't already. We will see you next time. Bye.